Hey, this is Mark Washington, MTC Media. Welcome to the latest episode of So Long Tobacco Road, latest in ACC news. And we're going to start off with Clemson, Georgia Tech, our preview for what I think is the best game on the docket on Saturday. I know people will say, no, Marcus, it's Georgia, Tennessee, because, that's in the SEC. If Haynes King, and we'll get to that later, plays in this game, Clemson at Georgia Tech could be the best game on Saturday afternoon. So the Tigers are coming off a listless win over Troy after that loss to LSU, and they kind of look like they had a little bit of a hangover or maybe even look ahead to Georgia Tech, but they just weren't clicking on all cylinders. But they know after the loss to Georgia Tech, and I'm sure, getting to the ACC title game and winning that is the other pathway, but really the pathway to making the college football playoffs and having a chance to win the college football playoff, because there were some people who took Clemson before the season. Well, all that needs to start with Georgia Tech and taking care of business on the road, and that's going to be behind Klubnik and having a solid game, having a clean sheet, and also the defense. As I said earlier, Haynes King, we didn't get much out of Brent Key at the press conference. At his midweek presser, it's very Bill Belichickian when Bill Belichick was at the New England Patriots. Look, there are rules put in place where they're going to have to be a little bit more forthcoming, or they're supposed to be a little bit more forthcoming with the injury report. King was held out of last week's game. I do believe that he will play this weekend. I don't see why he wouldn't play this weekend unless there's something more to that injury, and that's what makes this game just so looking forward to, is what that Clemson defense can do with King. If King is 100% healthy, man, this could be an upset of all upsets. Georgia Tech got the big win early on against Colorado. We'll see how Colorado fares for the rest of the year. But Brent Key, sans the press conference, has something going on down there at Georgia Tech. Will Miami slip up against South Florida? South Florida's coming off that upset of Florida. After the game, Alex Garish said, this ain't the same old South Florida, my brother. Well, we will see if it's the same old South Florida. I can understand him being excited and saying that, but Miami is waiting, and I do think maybe, just maybe, one of the best things that happened to the Canes was South Florida beating Florida, because now there is no way they are in a look-ahead mode. I don't care if the spread is 17.5. You can't be in look-ahead mode when that just happened to a fellow state school that so happens to be in the SEC. And the Canes defensively is where this game should be won here. Making South Florida one-dimensional, meaning that South Florida is not going to be able to run for 200 yards, but you don't want South Florida being able to run enough to be successful in the passing game. Take away the run, make Byron Brown be perfect underneath, and make every drive for South Florida long. That means the Canes can't get penalties and they can't turn the ball over. I think they should be fine in that aspect. But making South Florida sustain long drives is probably the pathway to Miami's victory more than anything else, because they get ahead, and then you can start weaponizing some things, running the ball and getting Carson Beck's mid to long range game. Those two windows will open up. Now, it's not going to look like air raid or, back to the Dan Marino days back in 84 and 85 when he was tearing up the league, but there will be enough plays being made, especially if there's yards after catches in that mid to long range, for Miami to be able to win that. So thank you for joining me for the latest edition to So Long Tobacco Road. Have a good day.